home health care, holiday coverage, and tips and tricks for documentation. I did a video yesterday being back in the field after resigning from Director of Nursing, and I had a lot of questions on how I use my time to document so much in the home. So I'm going to try to give a little bit more detail about that. More than likely it's going to take another example video of some sort, but I'm going to try to do that today. But first, I'm taking my youngest daughter, who's a Christmas Eve birthday, driving halfway to meet my eldest daughter so she can stay there for the night. So Caroline, what do you think of having a Christmas Eve birthday?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. She kind of cares about clothes now. And okay, daughter is dropped off with oldest daughter. Now I got to drive back to my side of town for the first patient. And again, this is covering for another nurse who is on vacation. So that patient was supposed to be a medication management that was just opened, and then the nurse also ordered therapy. But when I got there, this patient was adamant that he was just perfectly fine and didn't need anything and doesn't need therapy and doesn't need this and doesn't need that. So I did educate him as much as I possibly could, but it was, you know, they have the right to refuse. So it is what it is. So I just ended up being a discharge because the patient doesn't want anything. So I was there for about 30 minutes, just kind of going through and doing my own assessment because I had never seen the patient and now suddenly he wants to be discharged. And then I'll sit here, love this thing, I'll link it below. And because I'll sit in the car for 5 or 10 minutes after a visit if I have time, and usually I do, just to throw some things in there. Sometimes this is when I will submit the visit if I complete it. Because it's now a discharge, I won't complete this one in the car. I'll look over everything and submit it when I get home, and off to the next patient. So now the second patient is a med management, and we're waiting for authorization for PT and OT, and she never answered me last night, so we're just gonna go knock and see if she's home because I was right around the corner, might as well. Missed visit it is. So now headed to a wound care. Until I got in there that this was actually a recert. So recert performed as well as wound care. I was in there for about 45 minutes because of the wound care. And also, it's always weird when you're covering for somebody because when you're doing resorts or discharges or whatever, it's kind of like you don't have all of that information that you typically would have if this is a regular patient of yours. And then people have asked me all the time, like, well, how do you do your documentation so much while you're in the home? And it's kind of like what I'm doing right now. So I'm talking to them, I'm conversing, what are you doing for Christmas? You know, all of that different stuff. And I like having the touch screen so I can just kind of talk and chat and, you know, carry on like I normally do, which you just are kind of multitasking everything. And then that way you're documenting as you go. And I said on a previous post, I've never had somebody be like, why aren't you talking to me? Or look at me while you're talking to me, or anything like that, because you're just kind of going along and you're conversing, and that's it. What a lovely family. So that was 3 wounds, small, still there about 40 minutes, and just chatting with the family members that are there about their Christmas plans, etc. So now I'm off to the final patient, which is probably going to be a nursing discharge. It's a post-op cabbage patient, but all of his surgical incisions have healed. So I think I'm going to be discharging him, but we'll see. Post-op cabbage patient is discharged and is waiting for authorization for outpatient cardiac therapy. So I just now finished his discipline discharge and submitting that, and that's it for today. So I'm going to head home, and I still need to document a recert, a discharge, finish documenting a recert, a discharge, and I think one more visit that I haven't actually pushed through to submit, and then I will be done for the day. About an hour of documentation, and that was only because I didn't know these patients that I was doing a recert and a discharge on, and so I had to do a bunch of research. But otherwise, all done for the day. Well, I was done about 12:45. So now to clean my house for a game night with the kids.